So my name is Devi Brown. I am the, thank you. I feel so blessed and honored to be here. And because I see my brother right here, and I know you guys will see him a lot through the day, I just want to tell you how much I love you, how grateful I am for your life, how grateful I am for the way that you show up in the world, in the community, for this event, the way that you have grown and transformed your life and your family lineage and intentionally created powerful moments like this for all of us to experience the same. I love you, I respect you, I honor you. I'm grateful for you. So grateful. So I have a podcast called Dropping Gems. And on that show, I like to explore making higher consciousness tangible for our everyday life. And so this is our live broadcast of that show, and I feel so honored and excited to have this gem of a woman, this incredible woman, Anita Kopacz, author of Shallow Waters. Here on the show today, here at this beautiful event. Oh, Anita, wow.
I just have to say something really quick. I had texted Charlamagne when the book came out, and I was like, listen, I want Devi and Oprah to interview me. So I'm living in a dream come true right now. I just wanted you to know that.
I like being in that thought with Oprah now.
Yes.
Okay, so first, there's so much that I want to dive into with you, because something that I find so powerful about your work is the way that you allow myth to be felt in our lives. And, in this book, and you're really exploring ancient lineage work in this book at the deepest level, but you're making it applicable. The star of your book is a god. And you are showing how a God found themselves. And the way that I related to that, it's like, that is each of us. Each of us are divinity. Each of us are divine light. Each of us have God residing so fully inside of us. And it is about the awakening to that godliness within us, awakening to our sacredness. And it's just so gorgeously shared in this book. And how did you come to find that ability to storytell, that ability to really root in the ancient teachings and make it so relevant? How did this come to you?
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you so much. So for me, I believe that black women are God. And that, so for me, this is a love letter to us and helping us remember our divinity. And for Yemeya, or Yemoja, she is a Yoruba goddess, or more of like a spirit from the pantheon of gods from the Yoruba people in Nigeria, yes. And so what I did was I imagined her when she was 17, and it takes place in the 1800s. So it's about her finding herself and her own powers and all of those type of things while she's journeying during a time when she's experiencing chattel slavery, she's experiencing the Middle Passage. And there are also historical figures throughout there. We have Harriet Tubman, who's Moses, in here. And it's just a really powerful story of helping, a tool to help us remember who we are. And I call it like ritual storytelling and medicinal storytelling. So it's, while you're reading the words, I put so many intentions in it. So we're reading it on one level of consciousness, but there are so many other things that were put into it. So you might start having your own downloads while you're reading and opening different things within your mind and your spirit, and like, oh, shoot, I am God, right? I am this goddess. And so it's like a key. And I'm so grateful that Charlamagne saw this key and had it be the first fiction release on his imprint, Black Privilege Publishing.
Wow. You know, speaking of, really sitting in those tools for awakening, you know, I think so many of us, we always know there's more, right? Even if our circumstance doesn't allow for us to tap into it, even if experiences in life have potentially made us feel unworthy of it, we always know that there is something more, that there is a bigger calling at play than what we do for a living, how we show up for our families, right? How our friends know us. There's more to us. When we think about ways to tap into and start to experience that, you know, awakening, being an awakened woman in this time, it's about self-sovereignty. It's about knowing your power, living your power, using your power. And for any that is starting to resonate with right now, like if that's really pinging, like, yes, there is a deep power in me that I am ready to share with the world, share with my own self. What are some pathways to start to do that?
I love this. So as you were saying that, I was actually thinking of the word Black privilege and what that means to me. And what that means, our privilege as Black people, for me, is that we are connected to God. We are connected to the divine. We don't, just hear me out for a second. We don't have to go through all of these different avenues to hear the voice of God. A lot of times the voice of God comes through and we're like, oh, shoot, am I going crazy? What am I hearing? You know, my aunt is having dreams about, you know, that come true the next day. And so for us, it's almost like going from the end to the beginning. So we are these ancient beings. We are gods. And as the voices come through, it's us, oh, okay, let me slow down and quiet myself so that I can really hear what these voices are saying. And understanding what the different voices in our heads are. Sometimes we have voices that are from our childhood that are like a record playing, right? Like, you're not good enough, you're too ugly, right? Like those type of things. And the thing is that you could stop those voices because when you start hearing it, you could say, oh, wait a minute, I don't believe that about myself anymore. And you could stop that voice, right? So it's about hearing what those different voices are. And so we can use meditation to quiet down. For us as people of color, it's really good to do moving meditation. So if you want to walk and listen to your music, or if you want to dance, you know, like I was feeling the music when we were walking up. I was like, wait, he took the music off. But like just doing those type of things to be able to quiet our mind so that we can feel and hear the gems that are coming through, because they're there. They're there already. That is our Black privilege.
God, that was so gorgeously said. So what I was really pulling from some of what you were saying is like really creating the remembrance of the depth of our intuition. And I think that
Yes.
is one of the first things. If I were in church right now, I'd be like, the enemy robs us of our intuition. But also sometimes our families do. Also sometimes the people in our lives do, right? Our intuition is our internal GPS system. That's the piece of us that always attunes us to God, that always attunes us to our higher calling. And if you have been in a system or a family structure where you weren't allowed to be you, or you weren't allowed to have a different opinion, or you were under maybe a feeling of someone that was deeply trying to control themselves, so they felt they had to control you too, the nature of that is that it disconnects you from being able to trust your own internal compass, your own voice.
Speak on it.
And sometimes it happens Sometimes it happens in such tiny, insidious, over time ways that we don't recognize it. And so when we think of trauma or we think of the barriers we have to our healing, sometimes you're walking through this world and you're saying, well, I wasn't abused, so why do I still feel this way about myself? Well, it wasn't as bad as I saw here, so clearly I'm not that far off. There's no hierarchy to pain. There's no hierarchy to trauma.
Girl, say it again and again.
There is no, and I will say this again, actually, there is no, no, there's no hierarchy to pain. And so I think one of the biggest tools that we have for ourselves in redistributing and reconnecting to our intuition is really understanding that we don't have to compare our journey to anything, to anyone. There's no better, there's no worse. It's our individual process, but the noticing and what you were saying in that real time noticing and acknowledgement. Like mastery is found in the tiny details of the everyday. When you're noticing your body, when you're having a feeling, and you just stop. That's it. Stop. Pause. That's about 5-7 seconds that I did just there, right? Just stop. Okay, how can I use this information? How can I use this moment? All that we just did under 30 seconds, that's available to each of us in each day. But what we really get robbed of when we experience pain, when we experience disappointment, or when we're just not in remembrance of ourselves, we don't even give ourselves 20 seconds, right? 20 seconds? You'll scroll Instagram for 2 hours and not know how you got where you got, right? But 20 seconds, you know, those are small ways that we can start to rebuild that pathway to knowing ourselves.
Ashe.
Something I'm really excited to talk to you about, and I do want to warn everyone in the audience that a piece of the conversation we're about to go into can bring some stuff up. And so I just want to ask that just trust us, stay with us. And if anything comes up in your body for where this conversation is headed, just notice it. Just notice it and know that in this moment, you are safe.
Yes.
Some of the powerful work that you do, Anita, is really around the space of helping people heal who have experienced sexual trauma and sexual abuses. And as a baseline, I really want to anchor this conversation in that sexual abuse and sexual trauma but is not just rape and molestation. It's also experiences that, there's lists and lists of things that can entail, but it's also some things that you don't think about, like when you had sex with someone and you didn't feel like it, but you felt pushed into it, or if someone was touching you or looking at you in certain ways or implying certain things. So one of the things that happens when those experiences happen is we get yanked out of our bodies. If you had experiences at a young age, more than likely you may have missed an opportunity to get to know yourself inside of your body and have a healthy relationship with your body. So for those on the journey of the reclamation of self, men and women, for those on the journey of reclaiming their intuition, their bodies, their souls, what are some ways to get started?
So this is my passion, because when I was 7 years old, I was molested by a family member. And what has been really amazing on the journey, I created this called 0 F's Given. It's my nonprofit that we basically help people of color who have experienced any form of sexual trauma. And it actually represents 0 F's, so it's a day on 11/11, a day of sexual abstinence, so 0 F's given, literally. And the money goes to programs to help people of color, because on my journey of healing through, I had many therapists, healers, retreats. I was surrounded by all white folks. And I'm like, okay, what is happening here? And so I was like, we need to create something that's for us. And the numbers are staggering. 1 in 3 women are sexually abused, and 1 in 6 men before the age of 18. And so, and that's reported. I never reported mine, you know, when I was younger. I couldn't talk about it until I was in my 20s. And so it's something that's so prevalent in our community. And so basically what I wanted to do was normalize the healing process of it. Try to say it, because before I would be like, okay, I'm fucking scared to say this, because now there's this many more people that know what happened to my little 7-year-old self inside of me, right? Like, oh shit, you know? And I was carrying, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss.
Girl, yeah, shit. Come on.
And so I just was like, I want this feeling of being able to talk about it, being able to share about it, to be normalized. Because I know that Devi was just talking about, like, some people can walk around and feel like, wait a minute, I wasn't molested, I wasn't raped. Why do I have these feelings as if I was? That's because your mom was, or your grandmother was, and it is in your system. It is passed down. And I know that Charlamagne has posted things about, okay, if trauma can be passed down, so can healing. And I am not trying to have my daughters feel what I've felt and gone through. So I'm here, this is where it stops. And you know, in my family and in many family lines, there's incest. There will be uncles, which, you know, there will be uncles, cousins, whatever it is that's happening. And we just need to stand up and say, listen, this stops with me here. There's way too many of us. And I know that it can be a triggering conversation, but listen, we black folks in America, what is not triggering? What is not triggering? Right? The fact that we're sitting inside of a hotel that we got to walk through the front door, we could choose to be triggered if we wanted to. But, okay, sorry, let me not go there.
That's a whole nother sermon now.
So, there are so many tools we can use. Like if you're beginning to feel tight in your chest right now, doing the breathing exercises that Devi just gave us. Before the end of it, I'm gonna give you all a Tantra exercise to go home with. Tantra is the study. I know everyone's always like, oh, it's, you know, isn't it sexual positions? It's not just that. It is the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies within ourselves. And so working on those, because a lot of times when you do leave your body, when a trauma has happened, you have to bring in the tools to call your power back, to call your pleasure back. I was scared of pleasure. I was scared of pleasure. I had 3 kids, and I was still scared of pleasure. I'm like, it looks like everyone's having fun having sex out there except for me. What's happening? And so, because I would go into, I would go into a flashback as soon as me and my partner would begin to move into that energy. And so I was like, okay, I have to heal this. And so going on that journey of healing, there are so many practitioners and so many ways of healing now out there. And I'm gonna give you an amazing tool before we're done.
Thank you. How many are familiar with the term being out of your body, coming into your body? Okay, so for those that are not fully clear on that, I want to give you a couple examples of how that's felt. And this is just a few examples, and please share from your expertise. So sometimes what it feels like when you're not inside of your body is a generalized feeling of discomfort or annoyance being yourself. A frustration being you. Do you feel what I mean when I say that? You know, an againstness of self, like I just can't do anything right. Oh, I keep messing this up. I'm awkward, I'm moving awkwardly. That's one of the ways it can experience when you're not in alignment within yourself and your body. Another way could be actually rejecting your body or rejecting touch of any kind, even a kindness like a hug. Someone leaning over to put their hand on top of yours could feel uncomfortable, and you don't know why. It could feel scary. You know, receiving kindness, a kind word from someone. You know, if I were to look you in your eyes and say, sis, you're beautiful. And if that were to make you be like, okay, you know, that kind of, those little discomforts are ways, those small anxieties where we're just feeling, what can it be experienced as a charge? Like you don't know what that feeling is or what that emotion is, but something is present. So those are ways to start exploring that conversation. There is no right or wrong, and there's no judgment if you feel it now or you felt it before, but awareness about ourselves is how we transform. Having an awareness about where there is opportunity to expand, to grow, to enhance. And so, Jess, I wanted to add that in because on this journey, it's so important that even when we're in rooms like this, we might not make that step for us, because there is this underlying feeling that we don't actually deserve it, or we're not actually worthy of it, or the things that happen to us, well, it's just too unspeakable, so I'm not even gonna attempt it. But there are tools, there are resources, and there's more than we can name and list here with the limited time we have left. But if any of this is resonating with anyone, I really wanna invite you, start searching, start looking up online. Think of the thing that you're working with inside, type it into Google and see what comes up. Because one thing you'll instantly notice is that you are not alone in any of it. And the second thing you'll notice is that there is a multitude of options, of ways that you can heal that, whether it's cognitive therapy, whether it's somatic therapy, whether it's energy healing, whether it's a holistic approach, integrated medical approach. All the things I listed don't even scratch the surface of what's available to us right now. So I just want to offer that. Spend some time with that tonight. Start doing some searching. Set the intention. I use God, but if you have another belief system, whatever that higher source is, set the intention and say, I'm ready to be all of me. Show me how. Show me the people. Show me the places. My intention is to heal. God, let me do it with ease. Let me do it with grace. Show me where to go. Show me what to do.
Amen, girl. I love that. Thank you so much. And I think a beautiful thing of us remembering who we are is going back into our lineage of where so many of us are sons and daughters of the diaspora. So we've been cut off from our mother tongue. We've been cut off from our practices from Mother Africa. And if we connect back into that with our intuition, that's another way for us to remember who we are. Absolutely. I know before we're finished, I want to give the tool, if
Please,
that's okay.
give us the tools.
Okay, so this is a Tantra tool, and I'm going to have everyone stand up. It's called the Yes Breath, and we use this breath. It's an activating breath. So if you're going in for an interview, or if you need, energy to go somewhere, if you're feeling like you don't have enough energy within you, so this will activate your own energy source, which Devi was talking about, your power source right here. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put the mic down because I'm not gonna need it. Yeah, maybe yes, and then when I start yelling, I won't need it. All right. So everyone's going to put their hands up, and if you wrote an intention on the wall, or if you have a new intention that you have in your mind, imagine that it's just above you on the ceiling, right? And you're going to pull it down with your energy, and you're going to slightly hit the sides of you with like a drum, right? And then if you are on your moon, just do it a little bit more lightly. Moon is your cycle. For women. and so we're going to do this, and you're going to yell yes, right? And we're going to keep going, and even if you feel like you can't go anymore, keep going. all right? For our ancestors, for the people who did so much shit so that we could be here right now. All right. Ready? Yes! 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 Yell it out loud! Yes! 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 Make your hands up! Yes! 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 Think of that intuition! Yes! 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 Think of your everything that you want to bring in your body! Yes! 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 Keep going! Yes! 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 We're getting faster! Yes! 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 Keep going! Yes! 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 Hold your hands up! Feel that energy. Feel that energy. Keep your hands up. Feel that energy that you just created in your body. That's your energy. That's your energy to create whatever it is that you came here to activate. Use that shit.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So that's your homework 3 times a day. And oh my God, okay. As we get ready to welcome on the next participants for today, what we just did, that moment, raise your hand if you really felt something shift, if that felt good. Yeah. That's available to you all the time. There are places you can go, there are videos you can watch on YouTube that will connect you to tools like this regularly. There are places to go to feel that, to fill that void that maybe we've been using other things to fill, like men, women, clothes, job titles, Instagram, right? All of those deep connections to the things outside of us are really because we're seeking a practice like that. We're seeking to release, we're seeking to know. And there's not a judgment around that, but just start to notice. Start to notice when you're going for things that you're like, do I really need that? Do I really want to do that? Ask, what is the deeper need? What really wants to be known? What wants to be touched? What wants to be healed? What wants to be held? What wants to be tantricized? All right, Anita, thank you. I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shallow Water
yes.
in stores now.
Shallow Water. So actually, I already sold out of the books. This is the last one. But you can buy them online, and if you want, I actually have a pad of paper. If you are going to buy it online, I could sign the paper and you can stick it into the book. I don't know.
I like that option. I think that's good. So grateful. Have an amazing day. Please choose yourself in every moment. Thank you. And this episode will be available next week. Dropping Gems podcast. Namaste.
Thank you, Leonard. We love you.
Love you.